Hello guys, it's Rick here, and today I'm back in Japan and I bought some new fresh pair of football boots. These new Morelia Neo 4 Beta made in Japan versions, and I wanted to talk about them today. Now that I'm back in Japan, I'm going to be having more vlogs as well, like talking about where to buy football shirts, like this new Japan Y3 collab I bought. But let's not go off topic and let's talk about Morelias today. I'm going to talk about the history of Morelias first of all, and then go into why they are the best football boots I've ever worn. If you aren't interested in history, you can skip it by looking at the timestamps just down there. So let's get into the history. So when speaking about the history of Morelias, we need to first discuss where is the name Morelia originated from. Well, it's a name of a region in Mexico. And the reason why a place name was taken from Mexico was because these boots were designed for the 1986 World Cup, which was, surprise, surprise, held in Mexico. So the first ever Morelias were made in the 1985s. And the aim was to give the Japanese players in the World Cup a competitive advantage. So the aim was to build a football boot that was light, feels like barefoot, and is very soft, in order for the players to be able to express themselves in a Brazilian way, as the maker quotes. The founding father of the Morelias, Mr. Yasui, knew a Japanese footballer named Mizuno. He played in the Brazilian divisions for Sao Paulo. And from the player, he was asking for the various concepts on what Brazilian players wanted from the boots. And he asked for things like how Brazilian players use the sole of their foot a lot. So it has to be able to manipulate the ball quite easily. They wanted quite a tight upper, but not too tight to the point where their fingers can't move as such. And another player that played for Sao Paulo at the time was Careca. Now, Careca is a Brazilian international player who played the World Cups as well. And as I mentioned earlier, in 1986, there was the Mexico World Cup coming up, right? But Careca got injured before that. And then, after he came back, after his rehabilitation, he was going into his first game ever after his injury in a preseason match. And there, due to Mizuno's influence, he got his hands on some pair of Morelias. And there, he came on in the second half and scored 2 goals, and then said, okay, this is the best football boot ever. So he decided that he's going to partner up with Mizuno and started wearing Morelias. And then on June the 1st in 1986, Careca wore the Morelias at the World Cup. And that basically told the world that Morelias are something serious. They're an incredible pair of football boots. Hence, June the 1st is still renowned today as the Day of Morelia. Now, fast forward 40 years or so today, we have the most refined version of Morelias. And I like to use the term refined instead of terms like changed, because the concept of Morelias is not to make large changes every single time a new version comes out, but rather to make minor adjustments, or rather minor improvements from the previous design, and only make the changes necessary for improvement for the players. This decision was made when transitioning from Morelia 1 to Morelia 2 through inspiration of European old buildings, whereby they observed that the buildings from the outside looked old and always looked the same from how it's been from 100 years ago or so. However, on the inside, it's been refurbished as such. Hence, they thought these European buildings only made changes to what is necessary and not simply for the branding. They didn't really bother to try to make these football boots look like the most cool thing in the world, but rather make pair football boots that are the best for the players. Let's get into the detail of the boots. I love them so much to the point where I actually bought a second pair of them, as you've probably noticed by now on your screen. But it's the first time I've ever done this. And honestly, I don't think there's any better boots out there in the world right now. So let's talk about the uppers. The kangaroo leathers, they're like the highest quality leathers you can really get in this market, I think. And the thing about these leathers is, let me try to show you on the cameras. So these pairs are quite worn in. I've worn them for over a year now, and these are brand new. And I don't know if you can tell, but when I press on it, it is very soft, both of them. But you can see that the leather, even though it's soft, isn't flopping, even though it's been worn so much. Like, I've had it with like previous Tiempos, Tiempo 8, that I'll get up right now, where the leather has become slightly deformed over the years as I begun to use it. But the thing about Morelias is they really maintain the structure and it feels really good on the touch. And it's not slippy. Like, I really love the Tiempo series and I really think they shouldn't have changed it. Like, I really wanted the leather uppers to be continued. But I feel like the new Tiempos, Tiempo 10s I think they're called, the uppers are too slippy. These aren't. And that's one of the key things. Next, onto the heel. Now the heel hold feels really good when you're inside these boots. Like, honestly, it ties your feet down into these boots. Along with this elastic collar around your ankles. You can see it stretches and everything, and it really holds it down nicely. I think another pair of boots that does have a similar heel hold but doesn't have that ankle hold would be these Coppers. I haven't got my hands on Copper 2s, but I can tell you that the Copper 1s, I think they're called, yeah, Copper 1s, or just Coppers in general, their heel hold is really good, but unfortunately they don't have the hold around your ankle, which makes the Morelias more stable in terms of how it's held. But I really do think the Coppers are a great alternative to the Morelias. I'll get onto why I think Morelia is a more complete boot, but I think the upper the Coppers have are even softer actually than the Morelias. I'll try to show it again. Like, I can feel it right now. The Morelia ones are more stiff, and as I said earlier, it maintains the structure more, right? But I really do think these ones are really nice as well. Now, on this topic, comparing the sides, I know some people might not like the side structure because although it is advertised as, it would fit a wide-footed person's feet. If you can't get around this area, see, it's not leather here. It might feel quite restrictive, but I have really wide feet and I haven't really faced any issues with it. I don't think it's a major issue to anyone. And I think another alternative we have to those are the monocedars. Now, monocedars are basically Morelias, but cheaper and ones you can beat up. So you basically wear in training. Look, they have basically, they both have the same round stud patterns. They share a lot of similarities in terms of the structure. See, look at the stitching pattern. Look at where the upper leather kind of ends. Now, the key difference is they don't have that tongue hold, the ankle holding thing. Neither does it have the same strength in terms of how it holds your ankles. But I really do enjoy using these. The leather is definitely softer on these. So I think the hardness of leather at the end of the day is personal preference. And there are days I do prefer the soft leathers. But they maintain structure so well. And I can tell you, I haven't worn these for like too long. It's been like what, 3-4 months. And yeah, I can tell the slight deformities that's coming through. So I'd say the Morelias definitely maintain their structures better. And yeah, I think finally I'd like to discuss the stud patterns. Honestly, oh yeah, and weight of the boots. Yeah, these boots are really light. I know there are lighter boots out there, like F50, but they offer such a more complete package in terms of what you can expect from boots. I personally hate like synthetic uppers, boots like F50 have. It just feels like the ball slides off it. And yeah, like they're just made for speed and speed only. These, they offer you speed, control, speed, control, comfort, everything. And that's why I think they're the most complete football boots on this market right now. Now, like I showed you some other examples earlier, if you're into the leather, I do think I think it's Tiempo 8, yeah, Tiempo 8 are a good alternative because they do kind of have that, stretchiness up here to hold around your ankle, but they don't have strong grip around here. They don't have it all the way across, and also the leather does become more deformed over time. Oh, and it does have a different stud pattern, but it's somewhat similar. It's definitely a bit of a heavier boot. And then, yeah, monocedars, yeah, from the same brand, is cheaper for a reason, but it's a really nice boot as well. I think just not up to the Morelia level, but I would definitely consider these as well as a good option. But I think all in all, the closest boots in terms of like types and everything, the closest boots have to be the Coppers. Maybe controversial take. I do kind of prefer how the leather feels on the Coppers, but in terms of the overall stability of how they hold you, the stud pattern, yeah, I really like rounded studs. I feel like they put less stress on my knees, and my knees are kind of prone to being twisted and just ligament related injuries at this point. So I don't really want an aggressive stud pattern that you might get from a traditional speed boot. And on that topic, these aren't really speed boots. they are a bit heavier. So in conclusion, they offer you control on par with other control boots. They offer you speed somewhat on par with most other speed boots on the market, and they definitely offer you the comfort. And I think if you are looking for like a specialized boot just for purely speed, purely control, there are better boots out there, but they offer you the most comprehensive package. Now, there are downsides to this boot, I will admit that. One, I think even though the upper is leather, I feel like the break-in time is longer than other leather boots. Yeah, that's for sure. Because, like I said, the leather is quite stiff compared to other types of leathers I felt before. And secondly, and probably the biggest downside, the price. I think when you buy in Europe, it's like what, £250, €300, something around that. And yeah, if you do get the made in Japan model anyway. And yeah, it can be quite hefty for a pair of football boots. Now, I bought it in Japan, and it's like, what, 30k yen, which is like £150, which is less than like a lot of other brands' top model boots. Like it might even be like the, second model prices. So I got a really good deal on these. But like I said earlier, if you need alternatives, I think coppers, mono cedars, old Tiempos, and although I haven't got my hands on them yet, I think 442 Pros, they're definitely a really good option. And probably some of the ASICs that's out right now. I've tried them in store, and I think in terms of what they can offer, they're downgrade, but they're also cheaper. And what can I say? They are pricey for a reason. So that concludes the video for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like and a comment and subscribe, as all other YouTubers say. And I hope to see you next time, because I will be putting more Japan vlogs and Vietnam and South Korea probably vlogs as well. So, see you next time.